Welcome to another episode of By the Hearth with the Mental Mystic. I'm your hostess, Dawna Kreis, also known as the Mental Mystic. Each episode, I welcome a new guest to my hearth for a fireside chat on a variety of wellness topics. This week, I had the privilege to have Latrelle Ross of LatrelleRoss.com. I hope you enjoy our talk. I know I did. See you soon. Bye. Today, I am joined by Latrelle Ross of LatrelleRoss.com. Latrelle is a business and spiritual life coach who empowers women to grow their businesses and transform their lives via clear direction and aligned action. Latrelle includes intuition coaching, energy clearings, healing activations, and meditations to assist her clients with their authentic business and life expansion. She spent 7 years as a spiritual empowerment blogger on her former blog, Sacred Cyberspace, and began working one-on-one with women to help them transform their lives. Latrelle has been reading oracle cards and exploring the universal law of attraction for over 30 years and teaches her followers how to connect with their intuition in her free Facebook group, The Soul Alignment Revolution. She is attuned with level 1 and 2 Reiki energy and has also been attuned with the Starseed Masters via accelerated light healing to accentuate her work with healing activations and energy clearings. Welcome to the Hearth, Latrelle.
Welcome. Hello. Welcome. Hi. Thank you. how, how are you?
Oh, great.
Good.
I always enjoy talking with you.
Yes, I love talking with you too. So this is perfect.
So basically, we're just having a fireside chat and just chatting about whatever comes to mind. And right now, what has been going on with you during this whole lockdown?
Yes, during this whole lockdown, I've essentially been given another opportunity, like we do throughout life, just to practice what I preach. And as I shared, we actually had a talk with some ladies yesterday, but I shared this in there. I worked in the mental health field for about 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
So the first couple weeks of, everything starting, I was able to quickly recognize that I was having a trauma reaction and that my brain just wasn't quite right and that I just needed to be. So that's pretty much what I've been doing, is practicing what I preach, and just allowing myself to be and to listen. And when I have that day, because everybody has that day at least once or twice a week where everything's just I I just allow myself to, no expectations, no pushing, So yeah, I'm being very gentle with myself and just allowing.
And self-compassion, lots of
Yes,
self-compassion.
absolutely. Yeah. This is not the time to be pushing forward on things. This is the time to sit still and, if you have the mental capacity to maybe evaluate what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. That's what I was actually talking about in my live this morning, was this is just a time to nurture ourselves and get quiet and listen and our inner children are probably running amok right now.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, that is a perfect explanation. Absolutely.
Kind of like Lord of the Flies.
Yeah, absolutely, totally. Yeah, and it's like I live next door to a girls' home, and I hear them in there. That one minute they're singing and having a good time, the next minute they're like screaming and.
Oh my.
And I'm like, well, that's pretty much what we're all doing. One minute we're like, and the next minute,
So, oh my God, I gotta get out.
So it's like I get a nice auditory representation of what's going on.
Yeah.
I love it. That's my life. What can I say?
Yeah, I think it's all our lives right now.
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine being locked down with a bunch of teenagers. I have my teenager, and I just got hi.
That's great. I love it.
But just the one teenager. I have 2 older kids, and my eldest daughter is actually on lockdown with her 4-year-old.
Wow.
So
wow.
So yeah.
Well, I'm in Ohio. And as I told somebody, if you would have told me at age 17 that I was about to say what I'm about to say, I probably would have punched you in the arm. But I have never been so thrilled to be in Ohio right now. Our governor, he actually got started on this like at the end of February.
Really?
Yeah. There is a international sports event that happens in Columbus at the beginning of March. And at the end of February, he canceled it.
Oh, wow.
And everyone, oh, what's wrong with you? You know, but as a result, we have had a swell. We haven't had a curve that needs to be flattened. Okay. And we never got a mandatory face mask.
Oh, wow.
In fact, I went out and I was like a couple of weeks ago, I actually went out and I went into a carry out, which is down the street from a hospital, and not one person in there had a mask on, not even people in scrubs.
Oh, wow.
So it just kind of goes to show, you know, yeah, a lot of people's inner child are not liking it. But if, you know, it's just that social distancing really does work. And if, you know, I haven't seen my parents since like March 21st, except like through the window to like talk on the phone and like wave at them. But, you know, just making these itty bitty smart choices, you know, I can still get out. I can still go for a walk. You know, I'm fortunate I don't live in a highly concentrated population concentration, you know, city. I'm not in New York. You know, I understand why they had to, you know, lock that down. You know, things like that. So yeah, I'm pretty excited about the way things have unfolded here. I mean, yes, of course, just, you know, all the people that are dying, you know, I'm not to negate that, but we've been able to control it a little bit more. And I think it's because we have, I think in general, you know, I'm sure, and I was just telling a friend of mine this yesterday, you know, I know for a fact, you know, they put all this in place and they knew not everybody was going to follow.
Yeah.
Enough people followed, then you get a grip on it and not have it be so devastating. And it, you know, as the data comes back, I think it's going to be really interesting to see state by state, you know, how things went. So yeah.
It sounds to me like your governor used his intuition.
He used his intuition when he made his, what is it, the director of whoever it is, I'm sorry, I'm not grabbing the word, but whoever it is in each state that's in charge of, you know, everyone's health and well-being.
Infectious disease control,
something like that. He has an actual doctor in that position.
Oh, awesome.
And he listened to her right from the start. So when they canceled that event, and there was a lot of controversy over canceling our primary election too. But you know what? It was the thing to do.
Yeah,
it was the
definitely.
Thing to do. Yeah. Definitely. Which we have. I mean, everybody still had a chance to vote. We just didn't all go out and, you know, touch the machines and everything. So
and pass on the virus.
Yeah, exactly.
There you go.
And it did, and it, you know, I don't know how much of an effect I think one of our local things on the ballot, the coronavirus did affect something that they wanted tax money for. It looked like it was about ready to go through, and then this happened, and the primary got canceled, and then when everybody's votes came in, it like went the other way. So, you know, because everyone's panicking, you know, and they don't want their tax dollars going blah blah blah. So anyway,
ego's getting in the way.
Yeah. But it's, you know, so maybe it affected some things, but in the end, you know, we ended up having a swell, not a curve. So I'm okay with it. Yeah.
So what have you been doing to nurture yourself?
Well, I'm a hot bath person. I'm a hot bath, essential oils.
Okay. I thought you said hot math. I'm like, math?
Well, yeah. Well, I'll do math to keep my brain happy. You know, I like doing mental math. I'm such a goof, but I will do mental math just for the fun of it. But no, this is a hot bath. Essential oils. You know, your Epsom salts, baking soda. I love doing that. You know, you get the scent, which is relaxing. But what I have been discovering the last couple of years is with essential oils, they actually have like an actual physical therapeutic. And I never realized that. So, I've been making my own balms. That's how I got a grip on my chronic pain. It's really exciting. So
Oh,
yeah, I'm very particular, like, okay, what oils do I want to put in?
what are
In
your
the winter,
favorites?
in the winter, I use a lot of eucalyptus.
Okay.
Because it's hereditary for me to get bronchitis and stuff.
Oh,
So
okay.
I like that, which is why I've been staying in a lot too. I'm like,
Oh,
I get bronchitis at the drop of the hat. I really don't want to deal with the coronavirus.
yeah.
But
No.
yeah. And but yeah, of course, lavender, ylang ylang is a really great anti-inflammatory.
Really?
I love that. Yeah.
I
And of
love
course
the
it
smell though
smells
too.
lovely.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, just yeah, rosemary, ylang ylang, lavender, tea tree, and the eucalyptus. Those are like my standard ones that I keep around. But yeah, I'm going to be exploring some other ones as maybe when my stimulus check gets
Oh, oh, it's caught up, huh?
it's time. It's time to get. I was just like, ooh, this is good timing. My bottles are getting low. But yeah, hot baths, and I meditate. I do a lot of energetic work, and I meditate. Um, I I um I just listen to my body. Like, I stepped away from the soul alignment revolution. Today is like the first day of the new name of the group, but
Yay.
it was under another name, but I had to step away, and I was like, well, I'm going to step away. What am I going to do? How am I going to keep this going? So, but I knew I needed to step away. So I'm very Gen X that way. I am not afraid to put my health first. I have walked away from jobs without having another one lined up. I mean, I am what drives people bonkers about our generation. But I am like
It's
the
taken me
poster
a long
child.
time to get to that point.
Yeah. Well, I also don't have children. And I
Yeah.
like to point that out when I am sharing things with my clients and stuff. It's like, look, okay, here's what I was able to do, but here's how my life is. And I've helped with my nieces and everything. I know darn well that it's a whole other ball of wax
Yeah.
when there's kids involved,
Mhm.
So yeah, I know darn well I wouldn't have walked off some of the jobs that I walked off if I
I
had
can't
mouths
do
to
that. I
feed.
have kids.
Yeah, I would have had like another something else to help me cope with it. So some reasoning behind it all. But yeah. So yeah, I am pretty much the poster child for Gen X. If you go through and look at all, I'm like, oh, well then, that's me. All
We
right.
have posters. We have posters because they forget about us.
They forget about us. I know. Which is fine because we don't want to talk about it anyway, right?
Exactly.
Just leave
We
me
just want to kind
alone.
of fade into the background.
Let me do my thing. Watch y'all do your stupid stuff, and yeah, shake my head.
You did what?
All
Why?
right. Okay. Oh Lord. But yeah. That's just pretty much, how I have been dealing with it, is just doing what I'm called to do just to keep myself well.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
And this reboot, what is your vision for it? How has it changed?
Well, I listening to my intuition at the end of the year last year, I knew that there was an expansion coming on for me. And, when you have your own business, your personal life impacts your business and
Oh
vice
yeah.
versa. So I just knew that there was just, I needed to create space for expansion in general. So that's, why I stepped away. And it was literally like last Thursday that the idea for renaming the group came through. And I was like, well, what are we doing in here? It was originally called the Authentic Transformation Tribe. And the reason
Mm-hmm.
why I called it that is because we do intuition, just some real basic intuition coaching once a month. And that intuition coaching gives you your authentic direction,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, but I was like, okay, this is great. This has been a lovely thing. But, what are we really doing in here? And I'm like, well, we're getting in touch with our intuition. Well, that's really revolutionary.
It is. It
And
really
yeah,
is.
and on top of it all, there's almost like an intuition revolution going on, and so many people are waking up to it. There's like so many coaches are now starting to offer intuition coaching. People are starting to understand just how powerful, what a superpower your intuition is when you feel stuck and just can't, you have the answers.
Exactly. I was just thinking that.
Yeah, which is where it all, because I started, as you said, I started reading oracle cards, when I was 19 years old, and it was maybe, I think I was 3 years in to, I started doing readings for myself every day, and I'm okay, what's my question? So I'm like, I'm like 19, 20 years old, you don't know,
I don't know anything about life.
You don't know anything. So I'm like, I don't know. And I suddenly realized, like maybe 2 years in, as I was shuffling the cards, the answers would start coming to me before I started laying the cards out. And I was like, okay. And that was part of my journey. And I think that's a lot of oracle readers in our generation are like this. It's like, the answers. Let's use the cards to help you find the answers.
Tool.
Yeah, I don't. Yes, thank you.
Cards
I
don't have the answers. It's just a tool to funnel your intuition through.
Or like make you think about something you hadn't thought of before, and then that clicks, So that was where, when I was writing on sacred cyberspace, that was like my mission at the time, was just, all these, oh, I hate to be mean, but all these old new age old farts that like had like these out, the word Nazis, and you got to do it this way and got to do it that way. And I was just like, no, why are we, why, and then I noticed as I got out there and started, sharing what I felt was a better perspective and a better utilization of all of this, great perspective and way of being in the world. I started noticing like more and more people my age were like doing the same thing. So I was like, okay, good. So this is,
I'm not alone.
Yeah, this is something that's coming through. And I was glad, I'm glad to see more and more people, being like that, because I tick people off. I'd like a reading. Oh, okay. Well, here's my reading. And they don't like, that's too much. There's too much work in that. They just want an answer. They want me to tell them. I'm like, you're not going to get that from me. I'll counsel with you and, like help, because when, you did the 4 steps to clarity, and you did that reading that I created. And I realized very quickly that, because it's so intense, that I needed to be more available. So yeah, I'm available to chit chat, but I'm not going to be like, the stars say you need to do, no,
you need to do this. No, the cards are saying this.
Not going to happen. I'm not going to tell you what to do.
But yeah, with the whole process, the cards that you draw open it up, but you have to use your own intuition on how to proceed.
Right.
So I think we've become so independent or so dependent on other people's intuition that we don't trust ours anymore, and we look to other people to give us the answers.
And that's just a natural way of, and I talk about this from time to time, but I think it's just a natural thing that happens because your parents have to keep you safe. Your teachers have to keep you safe. So if you're running around as a kid, following your intuition, you're more than likely going to get hit by a car or, so everyone's got to, so what happens is that gets squelched unless you have an in-tune parent that's like, okay, how can I keep you safe yet still keep you tapped into your intuition?
Yeah.
Which is, I've met people like that who were blessed to have, parents, especially our late age, like if their parents were hippies or something, you know what I mean? It's like, yeah. So
mine was always, we don't talk about that in front of Dad. But when it was just her and I, we would talk about spell casting.
Oh, that's so cool.
And past lives and meditation and the tarot. And we talk about all these things. But when Dad walked into the room, it would be like, shh, we don't talk about that anymore. It makes your dad uncomfortable. It's
it pisses him.
Why? So it got to where I didn't trust my intuition anymore.
And that's the thing, and that's why people who do work like this, it's really important because it's really not that hard to get back in touch with your intuition. What I think the most difficult thing is trusting it.
Yes.
It's like, Oh, and after you learn to trust it and move forward and do crazy, crazy stuff that everybody thinks you're a moron for
Like
even,
a 28-day on the fly course.
fly. Yeah, I was going to say, yes, that's what, but it's okay. That's it.
Oh, I lost you.
From that. And who knows?
Okay.
Yeah. It's wonderful. It's wonderful. Yeah. So you are, so it's, and once you do that a few times, then you become, that's where it becomes the superpower, is because you become comfortable with it, and it doesn't, freak you out so much, and you're okay, doing that. Now, sometimes, it still doesn't mean that sometimes you're going to be a little scared, but
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But it gets easier. It gets easier over time.
Over time. So when you do intuition coaching, say you have somebody who is interested in getting in touch with their intuition more, but doesn't know how to start, what do you give them exercises, or?
That's what that monthly card draw in the free group, the Soul Alignment Revolution, that's what that's designed to do, is it's practice.
Okay.
To practice hearing. And in that group, I also have a free course. It's called Get Unstuck. It's like Intuition 101, basically.
Okay.
So, and there I share a few exercises, but we all have, once you get into it, you'll find that you have your own way,
Mm-hmm.
but between the card draw and then there's 3 other exercises that I present in there just to help practice. And as I said, it was like when I first started doing the oracle cards when I was a kid, it was like 2 years in, I suddenly realized all I had to do was shuffle and it started kind of coming to me. So it's just kind of like the practice of hearing,
Mm-hmm.
And so the tools like the cards and then some of the other things that I share in there. I think I only shared like three things, just because it's such a personal, it's such a getting in touch with your intuition is like such a personal thing. And then
Mm-hmm.
also we have Google, so there's like all kinds of people out there with all kinds of wonderful ideas on how to hear your intuition. But like one of my favorite things though is just like the gut check. I want to do something. Does it feel free and flowing? Can I just move forward? Or am I frozen and, am I starting to overthink it? And it just doesn't feel right. And there's like a block, but we are trained, especially here in America, got to push on through, and, sometimes you don't need to do that. Sometimes you do, but sometimes you don't need to do that. And that's a great way to, your body will tell you,
Mm-hmm.
flat out if it's right or if it's wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Does it feel light and bright, or does it feel heavy?
Yeah.
So
in your experience, what is the difference between a block saying no, don't do this, and fear?
That's a good one. And I think I actually blogged about that once. But in my experience, physically, fear, because I like many of us, but even before all this started, I've had to navigate anxiety. And so I just sort of feel like fear comes from my anxiety. So I have like those physical symptoms are, my fear symptoms are very different from just like a flat out block. And I can't, just from so many years,
things you have to experience.
Yeah, it's just one of those things you have to discover for yourself. But I find when it's something that I'm not supposed to do, I will literally hear, and then like physically I'll lock up.
Mm-hmm.
But generally fear for me is just like a flutter.
Mm-hmm.
And then the don't do that is kind of like
in
the block,
in the
or like
plexus.
or like I physically just can't. Like I had a job once, I left a meeting where I got blamed for all kinds of crap that wasn't my fault, and I went out and I was in the parking lot. I physically could not get out of the car and go back in. My spirit would not let me go. And so, but there was no fear. The fear that I felt though was because my sister and Ken still worked there. So I was afraid, you know, I knew I needed to do what was best for me, but I was afraid of, you know, how's it going to, you know, so like there, so in that moment I had the don't do it and the fear at the same time.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, but I knew not to walk. I knew not to even walk back into that door. And I knew my sister, and, you know, once I got over it, I'm like, you know what? I forget how strong they are. They're good. So.
So of the clairs, I believe there's 5 of them. 4, 5. Clairs, which is your gift? Do you hear? Do you see? Do you feel?
It's a combination of feeling and hearing, and when I see, it makes me uncomfortable. So
So they don't.
Yes, I've had situations where I have like I was at a funeral of somebody I barely knew, and he was there, and I was like, oh no. That's for the other people. That's for the other people. I can't do that. And my mother had a card that she said she called it White Buffalo. She's like, it has an Indian spirit in it. I'm like, oh, that's so great. And I was driving that car back from Detroit one night, and I looked in the rearview mirror, and I was all like, oh, dude, no. Thank you. I can't do that. I can't see you. I'm driving. And I looked in the rearview mirror and he was gone. I was like, okay. Whew. So yeah, I'm not comfortable with seeing.
So you don't see it that often.
I don't see it that often. Yeah. But it's generally because of the intuition work I do hear. And then, but yeah, definitely a physical. So physical and hearing. Definitely.
I was just curious.
Oh no, that's cool. It's a good question. I'm like, you know what?
As you can tell, I enjoy talking about this stuff. So
no, that's great. I love talking with people
about it that often. So
yeah, I know. Which is why you're asking me these great questions, and I'm like, God, it's been so long since I even, you know. No, I love it. I love this. Yes.
And that's why I do this, is because I just enjoy talking about this stuff. And I'm sure there are people out there that enjoy hearing about this stuff.
Oh, definitely. Absolutely. There's all kinds of people learning and coming into it. And because of what's going on right now, they have the time to.
Exactly.
In the space to, you know, allow it if they want to. So.
Exactly. And I have been finding out that the reboot, maybe it's because I can see the statistics better. I don't know. But with this reboot, it's actually, I'm seeing more people, and it's probably because it's like a captive audience.
Yeah. Right now we have, and I've been telling my coaching clients, I'm like, don't be disappointed when things get back to the new normal if your numbers and views start to drop a little bit. Because I did an experiment where I privately sell some earrings that I like to upcycle from time to time. And so I used an experiment just to like multicast across like all the entire like Facebook, from my page to my groups to my personal. And when I looked at the numbers on that, I was like, wow, look at all the people that looked at it. I said, but you know, and I set up some viewing parties, some watch parties too. And I was like, there are a lot of my Gen Zers that were like stuck at home. They showed up, and I'm like, yeah, there's people that there's people who are available right now. Yeah. So, but it's nice because you're showing up. So if somebody's not interested, it's a great time for clarity, like on so many levels, but this is like an example. So someone's showing up in my newsfeed, you know what, I just don't resonate with them, but they're my friend, I'm going to unfollow. So, but then there are people that haven't been on, they're like, oh, wow, I didn't know she was doing that. So they're going to follow, you know, so it's just, it's a lot of fun, and it's going to be interesting to see, you know, who sticks around. And
I did have a friend on Facebook. She's actually a friend that I know in real life, but she came across my page the other day, and she's all, you have such a beautiful page. Why haven't I seen this before? And it's like, because we all see what we need to see when we need to see it.
Yeah. And it's next to impossible to get people to see your business page unless you're like directing them there, or, you know, and they set it up that way on purpose. But yeah. But yeah, it's just really, it's a really interesting time. You know, I broke my ankle 5 years ago.
Ooh.
And I was forced to sit still. I had a spiral fracture, so I had to be off my foot for 12 weeks. instead of just the normal 6.
Ooh.
And so I had a lot of time, and I was already, I was writing on that blog and everything, and I was basically given the time to practice what I preach, get clear on life, so on and so forth. And so when this all happened, I'm like, wow, this is what I went through
A
when I
flashback.
broke my ankle, except amplified. Everyone's going through it. And it's a little bit worse because when your ankle's broken, you can wrap your head around the idea that you can't go outside.
Yeah.
But when you're in better physical health, yeah, the whole, all that was just a little bit harder to handle. But yeah, in general, it's pretty much what I went through.
On a global scale,
Yeah,
though.
on a global scale, on a grander scale, everybody's, yeah. So that's why I started looking at my money, because when my ankle was broken, I couldn't do, I was working in the schools at the time. So of course I was working in behavior school. So of course I couldn't go chasing off after a kid who's misbehaving. Yeah. And I was just getting started on trying to figure out how to have a business online. So I didn't have I had literally had no way of making income. My disability was a hot mess. And so I'm like, okay, I'm just going to practice what I've learned over, the last, at that point, like 25 years. And I attracted a teacher who was beta testing a little thing, the little class of Manifesting Big or something like that. Her name's Reba Linker. She's out there. We probably have some groups in common there, but I started doing what the work that she was doing in that course, combined with everything else that I had learned through the years. I actually manifested cash.
Wow.
I was like sitting, I stayed with my parents so I could utilize their geriatric equipment and came in really handy. And and they had a smaller apartment, so if I tipped, I hit the wall, but yeah, I was just sitting in my room, and my mom walked in. She's like, and she handed me an envelope, and it had like $70 in cash in it. She's like, this is from a group of people who wish to remain anonymous, who heard about your situation. And then they also gave me a box of food. But I had started, not only was I already doing the work that I knew, I had implemented the work that that Reba taught me. And I was like, okay.
This is awesome.
Because I had the time to the only thing I could do was the energetic work. That was all I could do. And I used, I've been fine tuning that process over the years, and since that happened. And so, yeah, in my paid group right now, I'm putting a program together about our relationship with money, because this is just the perfect time to do it.
Yeah.
I'm like, why don't I just share with everybody what I learned? And it's kind of hard when you fall victim to all of the advertising that you see about the people that are manifesting money, and they've rented the expensive mansion. Yeah. And they've rented the boat for the, whatever. It's like, so how do I own, I'm not, and it's not in my nature to want to, have a yacht and stuff like that. Exactly. Those aren't my financial goals. So how do I share, this money connection thing and show people that, this is what I've learned to do over the years. My life is a reflection of it, but I'm not going to have a yacht and a big mansion. But I do know how to, and I'm owning the money, because obviously, I can manifest, and I'm trying to find a different word, because I'm not real happy. I'm not real happy with the connotations around the word manifesting these days.
Create.
But create. Yeah, I allow create stuff, like no problem stuff, the bed, the clock radio. Geez, who even uses clock radios anymore? But I could just thinking of jobs. When I moved back here in '97, I didn't want to be here. I wanted to be in Ann Arbor, Michigan. I actually worked with a guy during the internet boom. He had an apartment in Ann Arbor. I could go to it anytime I wanted, so I can create these situations. I can create the things that I need, but the money, actually, like money I was having a hard time wrapping my head around it.
Yeah.
So I feel like I'm there, and I have my days just like anyone else. But yeah, so that's basically what's happened during this whole pandemic, is that's really starting to come through for me. And I'm Working on owning it.
Awesome. And so that's in your paid group. Which one is?
The paid group is called Divine Soul Design, Life and
Okay.
Biz Alignment.
Okay.
Yeah, and I haven't really been promoting that. I would like to start promoting that more this year. I was just trying to get my head around exactly what it was I was doing in there before. You know, I was working with a coach, and she's like, "You can go ahead and done it." I said, "I don't have anything really to show for it yet. Yeah, I know in my heart, I know what I want to do, and I know theoretically you can go out there and start talking. But you know, if you're not feeling it, it's not going to work."
Exactly.
You know, so, and after the year ended and I've kind of looked at everything that's in there, I'm like, okay, I'm feeling it now. I feel comfortable asking for the money. I feel like there's something to give back instead of, you know, I promise, you know,
How can I tell them
this is what I'm doing and you will have access to it, you know, but now it's like, here's proof. I do what I say I'm going to do. So come on in and you'll have access to even more as it comes through. So yeah.
How do I tell them what I do when I don't even know what I'm doing? So.
And when you do work like this, it does take time, especially when you're just kind of going on that impulse. It's like, you know, I'm supposed to be doing more. What is it? You know? And I was thinking, you know, you were talking about enjoying talking about this stuff. I even worked out a way to work all of this into my thesis that I had to write to get my bachelor's degree.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I was just patting myself on the back because I went back to school in my 30s. So I had all those years where I was studying all the metaphysics and everything that was going on out there. And I'm like, well, this is what I know. How do I apply it? And I studied the effects of 9/11 on the search for religious faith in America and how it affected it. Yeah, I have a humanities degree, so I had to write a thesis to get my bachelor's, and yay! And it was no direction because I was supposed to advance research in my field. So heaven forbid anybody give me any direction. So I was like, what? But I was able to work the whole prosperity consciousness and abundance, you know, consciousness and all that. That's part of all that in with everything else that I wrote about. So I was just like, yes.
I would love to read that sometime.
I'll have to see if I can dig it up. I'm pretty darn proud of it. I thought it was pretty cool. And all the research that I did for that paper has done nothing but help me ever since.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, it helped me understand why 9/11 happened. It's helping me, and that's humanities. But it helps me understand, you know, when people, I can kind of predict what people are going to do when things happen.
Okay.
You know, and I understand like, I understand like the cult mentality and like where someone's head needs to be in order to join a terrorist organization.
Okay.
We're the heads of our militia folk who are going to the capitals. You know, I see, you know, I get, not that I agree, but I get where their heads are and why they're doing it. And that just creates some calm. And you know, it's not that I'm making excuses. It's just like, oh, so I'm not like living in fear all the time. And I've noticed that's where I'm different than a lot of people, is I'm just not constantly living in fear of the future and the government, and because I have an understanding.
A deeper understanding of the mechanics and thought processes.
So, which is why I did it. It was a conscious thing. 9/11 happened like maybe my second week being back in school.
Oh.
And once of course, once the semester ended, then it really hit me because, you know, you're busy studying. But and then George Harrison died at the same time. It was like, but anyway, but I was just like, I'm like, I need to understand. I need to understand what's going on now. Otherwise, I'm going to lose my mind. Yeah. And so that was like the beginning of my intention of trying to study this and get my degree at the same time. So, yeah.
And that's where intuition comes. Being able to listen to your intuition is a great tool, because it's like you can't find the answers sometimes outside of yourself, and so it drives you nuts, and it's like, I need to know. And like you said, all the answers are within, and
Mm-hmm.
go to the universal mind.
Yeah, yeah, they're there. You just have to trust. You
Mm-hmm.
have to trust, and it's even though it's something that we come into the world with and then get squelched, you can learn. You
Mm-hmm.
can learn. It's a learned behavior. You can get it back.
Mm-hmm. It's
Totally.
always there.
It's
You just
always
have
there.
to turn on the tap.
Yeah, yeah. And you can look back. You can look back on your life and you're like, something told me not to do that. I remember I was getting ready to go do such and such, and something said, don't do it. Whether it was something in my head or my stomach got cramped or whatever. So there's another example. That's a great way to get that connection going, is to look back on all the times when
Yes.
you didn't listen, but something you were like, what was that? That was your intuition. So if you can look back at that, then you can start.
Mm-hmm.
That's how my intuition speaks to me. Great.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So let's do these exercises and see. Yeah.
Yeah. I remember we used to live in Columbus.
Okay.
And we went to go buy an extra vehicle, and we went to one of the used car places, and we test drove it. And then my husband goes, "What do you think?" I'm like, and my gut told me no, but I said okay. And the next day I was driving it to work, and it broke down on the freeway. I'm like,
oh, that's so scary.
yeah.
Oh my gosh, I've had that. Oh
Yeah. So I should have listened.
That's when you know how fast cars really go, is when you're stuck on the side of the road and they're whizzing past you. It's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I'm not safe. Yeah, totally. Yeah, I've had that happen with cars. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
So when you're able to look back at all the times you didn't listen to it, and you can say, like you said, say, oh, okay, this is what it sounds like, or this is what it feels like, and there's confirmation that it works.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Yeah, totally. But again, I'm not one of these people, you didn't listen to your intuition. That was bad. That was
yeah,
wrong. No, it's
yeah,
just, it's part of the process. And sometimes we listen to our intuition. Just because you listen to your intuition doesn't mean you're going to get a happy ending.
yes,
Sometimes our intuition kind of puts us on a journey, or maybe sends us someplace where we have some growth that we need, and it might not necessarily be pleasant, so
mm-hmm.
yeah, the intuition isn't necessarily happy la la flowers
Mm-hmm.
all the time. So
I was listening to a video from Lee Harris recently, and I think it's Own Your Intuition. And I was listening to it, and one of the things he said was that intuition's only purpose is to get you to grow. And
perfect.
he used the example of a Broadway singer. Maybe your intuition says become a Broadway singer, and it's, in the end, it isn't telling you that you're actually going to succeed in becoming a Broadway singer. It's the lessons that you're going to learn along the way to becoming a Broadway singer that it is guiding you towards. So it's all about process. It's not about the
Right.
attainment of the end goal.
Right, because our your intuition is your soul and your spirit speaking to you,
Mm-hmm.
and it came here with a purpose, which is to expand,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
so that's why things like, I want to be a Broadway singer, and you go and it doesn't happen, but your spirit, your soul needed the expansion, and and of course you did too.
Yeah.
But it's because it's all together, but it really is. It boils down to, it's a great tool just for that authentic expansion, so that also yeah. And I know we're probably going to live longer, and as generations go on, but life is so short.
It really is.
And wow.
Okay, we're back. We had some technical difficulties, but Latrelle is back again. So yeah, we were talking about how spirit will tell us something, guide us towards something, not to get us to that end result, but instead to get us to learn things along the way.
Yeah. And so that we can grow and expand, so our spirit can grow and expand. And and that's where a lot of the the energetic and clearing work that I do, I got I don't know if I'm going to continue calling myself, letting people know that I'm Reiki certified. The Reiki certified I did for my comfort in talking about the healing activation work that I do. It's just something that I've always done. And I felt like I need permission. So I need to have a certification. So it's like the Reiki that I learned does accentuate it. But what really accentuated the work that I do was the accelerated light hearing, light healing. And that's where, they really taught us that everything's expanding. I mean, we know that from science. The universe is constantly expanding. Everything's made of molecules. We're made of molecules. So we're expanding. And it's another way of assisting the expansion of your spirit, the expansion of your soul, the expansion of the human, and in return, the expansion of the human race. So when we listen to our intuition, we're listening to our soul, who came here with that purpose, and we're the vessel taking it on its journey, what it wants to do. And if we listen, and then sometimes I wonder though, when we don't listen, that's part of our soul's journey. So it's not something to get all wrapped up in.
Exactly.
So
I didn't listen. Well, that's okay. Spirit course corrects.
And we get that from the people that raised us, that needed us to learn and grow. You didn't listen. How many times did we get in trouble for not listening?
Exactly. Yeah.
So it's just all kinds of just things that we just need to unlearn.
There's a lot we need to unlearn. And that's part of the journey too.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Well, Latrelle, I think we'll end it here, especially since you're having technical difficulties.
Yeah.
But I appreciate this conversation. I've really enjoyed it.
So much. Yes, me too. Thank you.
We'll have to do it again soon.
Absolutely. Okay, you take care, hon.
You too.
I had fun.
I did too. Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Well, that's it for another episode of By the Hearth with the Mental Mystic. For show notes, as well as a peek at upcoming episodes, visit us at thementalmystic.com. Join me next week when I pull out an interview that I recently did out of the archives. I hope to see you then. Thanks. Take care. Bye-bye.